Hi everyone and welcome to another English with Joseph. Well, it's early in the morning, so I'm here with my cup of coffee, which I'm enjoying. I'm working today, Saturday morning, and then I will go for a nice walk along the beach here in Barcelona. It's a little bit cold, so I will be taking my coat with me. About English grammar, today I would like to talk to you about the verbs must or have to. Must and have to are the same, or at least they have the same meaning in English, and they're used to express either obligation or when we're certain that something is true. For example, imagine that there is something you have to do this morning. You would say, oh, I have to do that. I must do it. For example, when I go for my walk along the beach this morning, I am thinking, oh, I really must go to the shops. I have to go to the shops, or I have to call my friend. I really must call my friend, Janet, for example. So this is must and have to. Okay, so we must or we have to do something means it's on our minds. But we can also use it in a kind of imperative form. Not really imperative, but it's more like an assumption. For example, imagine that it's cold and there's no central heating. I might say to you, oh, you must be freezing sitting in here. Now that's not a command that you should be freezing or that I want you to be cold, but it's assuming that you are. Okay? So we use must to show that something is definitely true. For example, there's a lot of books on my bookshelf here that I haven't looked at for a while, and they must be dusty. They must be covered in dust because I haven't lifted them out. Or I could say, oh, are you okay? You look very sick. You must be ill, are you? Because you don't look well. So it's a way of talking about something, or indeed someone. It's a description which you think is true. There's no heating on. You must be freezing. Oh, John hasn't called you and you haven't seen him. You must be worried, are you not? So it's the same way as saying, oh, you are worried, aren't you? You must be. It's because you're putting yourself into their minds and you're saying how you think they are or they would be or they must be. Another one is one that I hear a lot because I live here in Barcelona. Oh, you live in Barcelona. It must be nice over there. In other words, I'm sure it's nice over there. Must and have to in these circumstances is the same as saying I am sure. Okay? So for example, there's no heating on, you must be freezing. It's the same as saying there's no heating on, I'm sure you are freezing. You must be worried about John, you haven't heard from him. I'm sure you're worried about John, you haven't heard from him. So, must and have to is when we are so certain that something is correct, something that we are saying, that we make a logical deduction, okay, a logical reason in our minds based upon the evidence given to us, okay. So, if I see a man lying on the street, I might say to him, oh, you must have been attacked, or you must have had an accident. So I'm sure you've had an accident. I'm stating facts. Okay, so must and have to can be used as an imperative. You must do that. You have to do that. But it can also be used as an assumption. Okay. We also use must to express a strong obligation about us or other people. And again, this is where maybe the command or the imperative comes in. You must, you should, you have to, But we can use it as a strong imperative upon ourselves. But it's not really so strong. We just express it as a strong obligation. For example, I must go to bed earlier. The government must do something about that because the road has been unsafe for many years. You must come and see us sometimes. You have to come and see us sometime. You must come and see us sometime. You have to come and see us sometime. Okay? That's a little bit different from the previous ones. And another thing is, I must say, and it's when you feel you're expressing a strong opinion. I must say, I think you're very brave to do that. I must say, I think you're absolutely right. You know, I must say. So I must say is, when you want to comment on something strongly, or I must say, you're very lucky going to Barcelona. Or I must say, I don't think you were very nice to me. I think you were very rude to me. Okay, let's just recap on what we've looked at so far. So we use must to show that we are absolutely certain that something is true. Oh, you must be freezing. Come with me. Oh, you must be hungry. I know you haven't eaten today. Let me cook for you. Let me prepare some food for you. So in this way, it's the same as saying, I'm sure. Okay? I'm sure. Oh, you must be hungry. Let me help you. Oh, you must be ill. Let me help you. Oh, I'm sure that you are. So in that case, must and have to is the same as sure. The second thing we were talking about is when we use must to express a strong obligation. Oh, I really must go to bed earlier. The government must do something about that. They have to, because things can't continue the way they are. And also with I must say. I must say, that doesn't sound right. In the same way as we can use must, we can also use have to, as I mentioned a moment ago. When we use have to, this usually means that there's some external deadline that we have to meet. So it's not necessarily about ourselves. For example, I have to arrive at work at 9 or else I'll be in trouble. You could say I must. It's kind of the same. But I have to usually means that there's something outside. In this case, work. Okay? I have to give him an answer today, because if I don't, I'll lose the contract. Okay? Again, you could say I must give him an answer today, but have to shows that it's a burden on you placed by someone else, not a self-obligation. Okay? You have to pass your exams or the university won't accept you. You must pass your exams is the same, but the stress here is caused by the university's threat rather than you saying you have to pass. So have to is more appropriate because it's external. I have to send a report to head office. I must send a report to head office as well. If you say I must, the obligation is on you to do it. Oh, I can't leave, I must send that. But I have to means head office is waiting for it. Okay? So it just means that there's an external force. In British English, we often use have got to mean the same thing. I've got to do that. And we've got to finish. Well, it's the same. It's just another way of expressing have to. I have got to. Okay? And this causes a lot of confusion because that doesn't actually exist in American English. Okay? We spoke already about have to and must, but we can also put it into the future. I will have to. I will have to do that. But you can't use I will have to must or I will must. Okay, must stands alone as something which you know you have to do. Okay, now or in the future. Yeah, I must do that. I'll do it at 3 o'clock. Yeah. Okay, but you can't use any form of the future tense with must, but you can use a form of the future tense with have to. Yeah, I will have to do that. I will have to close my shop early. I will have to finish my lessons earlier today. I'll have to speak to him. We'll have to have lunch maybe later. They'll have to do something about it because things can't go on the way they are. And I will have to let you know about lunch tomorrow. Okay, so you can use a future construction there. As you've probably already noticed, the differences between the present forms are sometimes very small and subtle, but there's a big difference in the negative forms. For example, we use mustn't to express strong obligations. You mustn't do that. But that's a very strong command. You mustn't do that, okay? If you just want to give someone advice, you might say, oh, maybe it's not a good idea. I wouldn't. Okay, so you mustn't is a strong negative connotation. We mustn't talk about it. It's confidential. I mustn't eat chocolates. But that because that's a self-imposed command, you can't use have to. You can't say, oh, I don't have to eat chocolate today. Don't have to means you're not obliged to. But if you're convincing yourself that you don't want to do it, then you have to say I mustn't. It's a command to yourself. But I don't have to means I could, but I don't have to. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. So must is a little bit stronger. Okay. We use don't have to or haven't got to in British English to state that there's no obligation. Oh, you don't have to do that, don't worry. But if you say you mustn't do it, it means that you must not. But no, don't worry, you don't have to do it. You don't have to give me the money for the pen. It's okay, just take it. No, take the book. You don't have to pay me. Okay, so it's a very neutral and nice thing to say. It's a compliment, honestly. Oh, don't worry, you don't have to. You don't have to. I remember once I worked with a girl, and in English we often say, "Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything," And she took great offence at that. How dare you tell me not to worry? I'm not worried. I always thought that was a bit strange, but some people react literally to words that you say. So, for example, if you say to someone, "Don't worry," maybe their understanding of English is that you're thinking they should be worried, and they might react in a way which seems strange. But we don't have to. We don't have to do that, so don't worry. But we mustn't do it means we're not allowed to. It's a big no. Yeah. Okay, so just to recap again then on what we were talking about there. We use mustn't to express strong obligations. Okay, so for example, I mustn't eat any more chocolate because I'll be sick. Okay, but if I say I don't have to eat any more chocolate, it means that I could, and it also means no one's forcing me. Remember, if I say I have to start work early, it means there's an external force there forcing me. Okay, but if I say I don't have to start work early, it means there isn't an external force there. But if I say I mustn't start work early, it means my boss has called me and said, no, you don't start work early. Okay, a little bit confusing, but with practice, it becomes easy. Okay? So just to quickly recap then, have to and must. Okay? Have to and must are both obligations. Must, when it takes this negative form, becomes very imperative. No, you mustn't do that. And have to, if it takes a future form, is talking about something that you have to do in the future. But in its negative form, it's something which you don't have to be concerned about. Don't worry, you don't have to do that. No, you don't have to pay me. No, you don't have to be work at 9, it's fine. It's about taking a very relaxed attitude. Okay, well that's all I want to say today. So I wish you a very good day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.